Assemble! Stay dandy, baby. Just when you thought the Galactic Bandit Brigade was gonna be a bunch of pushovers, they finally bring in the destructive cyborg known as Seventhree, who has the distinctive ability to copy the powers of any of his opponents. Hello my friends and welcome to another review of the Dragon Ball Super manga series, and this was an awesome chapter. I absolutely loved this one because it involved one of my favorite characters from the series, and that is none other than Piccolo, the Super Namekian. Piccolo has always been one of my favorite side characters from the entire series, mostly because his fighting style is incredibly distinctive, especially when compared to the Super Saiyans of the series. And finally getting to see him have an opponent in this entire arc that actually gives him something of a real good fight honestly made this a super exciting chapter. It also helped that the artwork in this chapter was just all sorts of awesome. Not to mention Piccolo's opponent, Seventhree, who is arguably the most interesting member of the Galactic Bandit Brigade, the warriors who are currently working under Moro, the Planet Eater. Now, I'm going to go ahead and say it, this review is going to be very short. I am low on time, so I'm just going to talk about my favorite moments and give out a quick score. But this was a pretty simple chapter where Piccolo, Krillin, and all of the other people on Earth are awaiting the arrival of some galactic bandits, which they're going to have to fight against. Apparently, Piccolo and Krillin are the only ones around who actually have the ability to fight, with Yamcha going off doing something that's probably kind of disappointing. They kind of laugh off the fact that Yamcha probably even wouldn't be able to do much in this chapter, but suddenly out of nowhere, Seventhree and the other warriors do arrive on Kami's lookout, and a massive battle ensues. Before all of this happens, we are introduced to Seventhree's powers through this one flashback sequence where we get to see them going to this planet, and since he is a cyborg, he has unlimited stamina, and he also has the ability to copy the powers of his opponents by grabbing onto the back of their necks. There's a scene where they go to this planet that's inhabited by all of these anthropomorphic porcupine people that have the ability to shoot their spines from their body, and he actually ends up doing the same thing. It's a great introduction to his powers, and you know it's only a matter of time before he either copies Krillin or Piccolo's powers, and he immediately goes after Piccolo, taking all of his distinctive Namekian abilities, being able to stretch out his limbs, use the special beam cannon, his big breath attack, the demon wave, all of his signature abilities. And not only that, he has unlimited stamina, which means Piccolo's battle is going to be very intense, and it immediately goes into that classic style of Dragon Ball where they end up in a landscape that doesn't exist anywhere, but it's right over there, and they end up having this big epic fight of basically trading blows with one another, and Piccolo having to try and figure out how to defeat what is effectively now his evil doppelganger. You have Krillin, who's going to be going up against another warrior by the name of Yunpa, who is this weird panda bear looking fighter who's surprisingly strong and ends up giving Krillin like a really good fight, to be perfectly honest. He kind of reminds me of Botamo from the Universe 6 versus Universe 7 arc, and may even very well be from the very same race, mostly because of the fact that he's a big, giant, chubby, freaking teddy bear-like character. But still, I'm really interested to see what he is going to do against Krillin. Even freaking Mr. Satan gets involved in the battle as well. Of course, we know that he's probably not going to do anything. The point is, the battle with Piccolo and Krillin is honestly kind of exciting, and I really hope that some of the other warriors are eventually going to join them in this fight. But it's Piccolo versus Seventhree that honestly I find the most interesting. Now, if you're wondering what's going on with Vegeta and with Goku, don't worry, we do go back to all of those events. Goku is still training with Maris, and he is trying to attain Ultra Instinct, and he realizes that the only way to do this is he's going to have to get super emotional and go crazy and start raging with anger, and the only way to do that is if they actually intensify their fight. Maris is going to have to go with Goku with the intent of actually killing him. Right after that, we immediately cut to Vegeta, who is now training on planet Yardrat, and even wearing their clothes, just like Goku did when he did training on that planet. And Vegeta's training involves actually having to balance on this massive spike, which definitely reminded me of a scene from the Naruto manga series where the main character Naruto is going through a similar training known as Sage Training, which is kind of funny because they're both sort of like a spiritual thing where basically they have to balance on this massive spike, which for all of the people on Yardrat seems to be no problem, and it even took Goku hundreds of days to pull this off. So I don't know how Vegeta's going to be able to do this in such a short amount of time, but I love that we keep sort of going back and seeing the two distinctive training methods that these characters are going through. So what's the run rundown on this chapter right here. For me, this entire chapter was sold all between Piccolo versus Seventhree. Seventhree has a unique design, in a sense that, yes, it is an Akira Toriyama-looking design. He sort of looks like a Frankenstein version of some of the best characters from the series, but the fact that he has the ability to copy other abilities is really awesome. Again, reminds me of Naruto, the Sharingan ability, being able to copy very distinctive attacks. However, I do like that it actually does physically change his body in some senses, and being able to have the ability of a Namekian is definitely going to be tough, because now, not only does he have unlimited stamina and all the abilities that come along with Piccolo, such as all of his destructive stuff, but I'm assuming he will now also have the ability to sort of heal his very own body, unless, of course, it doesn't mesh well with his cyborg form. I don't know if it's like a completely organic form or if it's all mechanical or anything, but I can't wait to see how that's actually going to work out. Basically, if Piccolo is going to defeat Seventhree, he's going to have to completely obliterate his entire body, making sure that there is nothing left allowing him to regenerate. Aside from that, I really liked this chapter. I can't wait to see where more of these battles are going to come from, if we're going to see some other characters come in and help and fight against all these other characters. Maybe we'll even get to see more aliens show up and causing all sorts of trouble. All I know is it was a great chapter, showcasing yet again that while Goku and Vegeta are awesome, the side characters are just as fun. And Piccolo and Krillin always have some of the best fights in the series, so let's look forward to more of that. I loved this chapter. Like I've said before, I want this to be back in the anime form. I want to see this entire arc animated, especially this Piccolo versus Seventhree fight. So I'm going to give this one right here a 5 out of 5. Check it out, guys. I'd love to get your thoughts about this chapter. Tell me all of them in the comment section below, and what you hope to see from the future Dragon Ball Super. What do you think of the battle between Piccolo and Seventhree? How do you hope that that's actually going to come to a conclusion? Do you want to see characters like Tien and Yamcha actually show up? Hell, let's bring in Chaozu as well. Let's just have a discussion about this chapter and the future of Dragon Ball Super. Thank you all for watching this review. I'll see you all next time, and as always, stay down there, baby.